Mikkel and Danielle Pinnock. Give it up. Many parts of our nation's history have been lost to time, old buildings, documents, relics. So when a church pastor in Missouri discovered that the state's oldest surviving schoolhouse for African-American children was abandoned and falling apart, she rallied her congregation to step up. Now, not only is that one-room schoolhouse being restored for future generations, the project is breaking racial barriers and bringing the community together, which is incredible. Let's welcome Pastor Linda Settles to tell us more. So first of all, meet Joel, meet Danielle. Hello.
Hi.
So how did you discover the old schoolhouse in the first place?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here so that we can share our story. This is a collective story. Yeah. So I've been pastoring for about 20 years, and I'm itinerant, which means the bishop sends us to churches. And so about 3 years ago in 2020, during the pandemic, I was sent to Green Trails Church in Chesterfield, Missouri. And it's a predominantly white church in a community that is predominantly white. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard to make connections at first because nobody was in church. We were all videoing because of the pandemic, right?
And no one had pants on.
And height of racial unrest, right, no one had pants on. And all of that. And so I was trying to make connections. Well, when the weather broke, we were able to do outside worship. Yeah. And then eventually come inside, and I was able to finally connect with the church community. And in the midst of that, one of our members gave me a calendar from the Chesterfield Historical and Landmark Preservation Society. And I just started thumbing through it and came across February. And I saw a picture of a schoolhouse, and then I saw this graduating class whose faces looked like me. Mm. And I was struck, and it said African Schoolhouse number 4. I'm like, what? I don't know this story in Chesterfield. So I did what we do, I Googled it and wanted to know more about it.
That's incredible. So what did you learn about the schoolhouse's history once you started Googling, like we all do?
Yes. I learned that in 1894, there was a thriving community of black farmers in Chesterfield. Yeah. And they wanted a place for their kids to go to school. Now, keep in mind, this was post-slavery, but still during the time of segregation. Mm-hmm. So they ended up building a schoolhouse, a one-room schoolhouse for their children to go to. And it existed until 1951, and then it lay dormant for a while, and it was next to a house. Well, the owner of the house cut off the front of the building and made it into a garage. Fast forward, it changed hands, someone else bought it. And the St. Louis County Parks Foundation, it's really their story because they've been pursuing this for about 20 years, this building. And they approached the new owner who saw the value in preserving history, and he donated it to Faust Park.
That's really cool.
And so they painstakingly moved it to Faust Park.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It takes a lot to move something like that and then keep it intact.
Yes, they tagged everything, every log that was still existing, and moved it over. And they're creating a historical village for that to be, but also for other historical landmarks to be in this village. So kids, generations to come, will be able to come and see it.
Yeah, and see what the human spirit is capable of doing.
Yes,
somebody won't build it for you, so you built it yourself. That's incredible. Right. Yeah. So you rallied your congregation, right? So how did they pitch in?
Oh, my congregation is amazing. I love them. They're predominantly 70-plus years old, I'll say. Yeah. I think they would agree with me on that.
Yeah.
But they amaze me.
I like that. Yeah.
They amaze me because of their resilience. And we started talking about this and having a conversation about this schoolhouse. And some of them had heard the story, but others hadn't. And then I started hearing conversations about, I remember when a black family stayed at the end of the block. I remember there was a black family down the street. And we started having these conversations. And what I always tell my congregation is when you have a black pastor, every month is Black History Month. Amen?
Yeah.
Amen. So we said, what can we do to help this project? So we reached out and we were asked to come and help chink. And chinking is putting pieces of material between the logs that are there to fill in the gaps, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The materials that we used were pieces of wood from the original schoolhouse. So we were literally holding history in our hands as we chinked it into these logs. And you know, there's still a history to be dug into because there are descendants that still live in Chesterfield. And so we're gonna get the rest of the story as well.
Well, we love how you're bringing people together and helping restore African School number 4. And to keep the project going, we're donating $5,000 to the St. Louis County Parks Foundation because we think it's incredible. It's all about connection. We forget that.